Yo, it's the Mellow Mystic, Lord Emmanuel, Chief of simonicanation, Spike a star seed, the wheat in the virgin's hand. And if you don't know, now you know. Last time we went over the how to declare your political status. You know what I'm saying? And this time we getting into how to administer your own trust. So this is the second lesson from the Simonican Mystery School of Spica Sovereignty course. Becoming the executor of your own estate. From ward to warden. How to administer your own trust and estate. The objective is to understand the nature of your KV estate. The roles of executor, trustee, and beneficiary, and how to lawfully reclaim your authority over the trust created in your name at birth. So, the estate, what is it? Now, if you do not claim your estate, someone else will. You better believe that. So when the birth certificate was issued, an estate in your name was created. This is a trust, registered with the state and held in trust by the corporate government or crown. Under the presumption of law, you are deemed missing, lost at sea, dead. So the state acts as the trustee to manage your affairs. Now, this is where declaring declaring that you're of the age of majority comes in. The age of majority is 18. That's when you supposed to be able to declare yourself of the age of majority and of sound mind and body that's able to administer their own estate. But it's, some people go all the way to the grave and as the and never being able to take control of their estate. But this estate includes your labor, meaning your energy is monetized, your name, trademarked and bonded, your property, including future assets, and your natural rights converted to privileges. Now, we'll get into the roles of a trust. So to master sovereignty, you need to understand the three roles in every trust. The grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. The executor is the fourth role in probate. But the grantor or the settler creates the trust. The trustee manages the trust, and the beneficiary receives the benefit. That's the basics of a trust, right? Now, the state puts you as the trustee. So the key to sovereignty is reversing the roles. You become the executor and beneficiary, and the state becomes the trustee, bound by your instructions. Let me read that again. The key to sovereignty is reversing the roles. You become the executor and beneficiary, and the state becomes the trustee, bound by your instructions. Now, why you need to claim executorship? He who controls the trust controls the estate. He who controls the trust controls the estate. Now, without stepping forward as executor, the court, the IRS, and other agents act as if you are the trustee, the one liable for the debts, obligations, and duties. That's how they trick you. You will walk into a court thinking you're you, but they see you as the all caps name, the trust. Then presume you are the trustee, the liable party. By claiming executor status over the name slash trust, you flip the presumption and take command of your estate. So how to become the executor? Affidavit of status, executor letter. Declare that, at the very least, declare that you are the living man or woman, not the fiction. State that you are the executor and beneficiary of the trust known as whatever the all caps name is. 2. A UCC1 financing statement. Record a lien on the legal fiction, the all caps name, and its assets. You file a UCC1, you put everything you've gotten and you own in that name, put it on the UCC1 as collateral, and you put a lien on, and I'm talking about that's everything from all your property, your hair, DNA, blood, your automobiles, if you own your house, everything. And you put a lien on that straw man. Now, anybody who coming after that straw man gonna have to pay you out whatever amount you put that lien on before they can get whatever it is that they trying to get from your trust. You know what I mean? So you, as the holder in due course, the first lien holder, the authorized agent, the secured party, got to get paid out first before any other entity try to collect from your trust. So from the UCC1 financing statement, you record a lien on the legal fiction, the all caps name, and its assets. Identify yourself as the secured party and real owner. 3. Notice of private administration. Inform courts, agencies, or banks that you are no longer under public trust assumptions. Assert all administrative rights over your estate. 4. Correct your signature or your autograph. Use, instead of how they, let's say Kenneth L. Simon, you would use Kenneth, authorized representative of the Kenneth L. Simon estate, or Kenneth House Simon, executor without prejudice, something along those lines. Kenneth, the tribe of the Simonican tribe, or whatever it is. Just not the all caps version of the name. That separates you from the straw man. So now let's go into courts and executorship. Staying in honor. When summoned to court, it's not about justice. It's about probate or estate management. They're testing to see, will you act as the trustee who is liable, or will you assert your role as executor or controller? If you answer as the name or plead, you've accepted the trustee role. So that's all you get. When they come in and ask you, are you such and such, and you say yeah, you already assume the trustee role. If you plead, however you plead, you assume the trustee role. Like, it's a lot of things that put you in, it's a few things that mainly put you into their U.S. jurisdiction. You know, the claiming to be a U.S. citizen. That's one. Uh, they gonna ask you anything you want to do within the corporation. They gonna ask you for a proof of residency. That's two, because the zip code is U.S. jurisdiction. That's how they got because the U.S. is Washington D.C. But how they got jurisdiction over the several states is with the zip code. So if you claiming to be a resident, a citizen, you registering your shit to them, you got a driver's license, all of this shit put you in their jurisdiction. And your signature puts you into a contract with them. So the same way you can get into it is the same way you would get out of it. You know what I mean? But if you appear as executor in honor and do not argue or contract, the court must stand down. Here's an example. Your Honor, I am the living man appearing only to settle and close the account in equity. I do not consent to be surety for this matter. I'm the executor of the estate. Something along those lines. Now, living under private trust. Once you reclaim your role, you begin operating in private capacity. Once you reclaim your role, you begin operating in private capacity. Use private contracts, not public licenses. Receive compensation, not income. Administer your estate and affairs outside of corporate jurisdiction. See, a lot of people only know of the public sector and have no knowledge of the private sector, which when you were born into this world, you were born in the private sector. It wasn't until they created that corporate fiction and attached you to it through fraud and deception. Now, when you're dealing with fraud and deception and contract law, if there's not full disclosure, the contract is null and void. If there's not full disclosure, the contract is null and void. And this is how you can get out of these fraudulent contracts with the U.S. corporation that's masquerading as a government, and they're not. They're occupying indigenous land. So this is how you can get out of that the corporate system and live in the private sector as a sovereign. So again, use private contracts, not public licenses. Receive compensation, not income. Administer your estate and affairs outside of corporate jurisdiction. You now act in your true spiritual office: sovereign, executor, beneficiary, authorized representative. Right? So the lesson 3 goes into trust law and the redemption process, collapsing the debt and reclaiming your energy. So, Lord Emmanuel, head chief of simonicanation, the spike of star seed, the wheat in the virgin's hand. If you don't know, now you know.